Well, hello and welcome back to another episode of Terrafirmagreg. Last episode, I'll show you some setups and talk about some components and some rigs and made the high voltage tier. Today, gonna complain about a little the game and show some other stuff. So let's go. First things first. I have made a new setup that is going to become obsolete very soon again. Just like it would happen with the setup here to make the ethylene using the ethanol. Because I was using this basic brewery, but now I have already opened the next tier that allow me to make it more efficiently and more quantity. So it's obsolete already. And as you can see here, we have parts of the floor missing. Gonna talk about that later. First I want to show you the setup here. Now that I have the advanced macerator tool, that's going to give me more from the ores here. I have here a very complex system, and that's what's going to be replaced before. But I wanted to show you before I break it down, because all that huge setup that I had before is now condensed into this 12 blocks here. Well, it starts here with the macerator to grind the ore into the crushed version, and because it is the high voltage version, we can get the little extra. Then everything ends up here into this chest here. That is why we have so many materials here. Then I have here a conveyor module outputting items from the chest with a tag item to be asterisk crushed ores. So all the crushed ores will be pulled out for it. And the important one here is that we have this setup here that will not block items from exiting or entering the chest. Only the filter applies to what the conveyor is going to extract or insert. And come here, we'll have here another semi-filter, but this time to insert. And I'm going to insert into this little chest here. That's then going to be pulled up into the top of it, into the smart shuttles that are going to feed the water washers here, that have the activation on top, and you block the output when they start to work, so they can work with more of them. And the conveyor is set to only output one item and do round robin. So we're going to feed one into each one, and I even go all the way to make the smart shuttle to also be exactly one item. We're still going to get sometimes two items on the machine, one into the smart shuttle, but that is okay. Then everything is output here into the back into the chest here. This is why we have this filter here to avoid the items that is purified to enter here. And when they are heavy here, have another conveyor here for the purify ores. And this is the point where things got a lot more complex. Because you cannot go into that direction. Only up. Purify ores here. And I put this too because this is the output. So the process item don't go up. And the top here I have it not one, not two, but three crates. One has this many purified gems here. The other have other purified gems here, and the last one is everything else. only metal ore, because yes, we don't have a tag for purified gems. Thank you very much, game. This is my first complaint that don't have tags for everything. We don't have purified gems. We have only purified ores. So if I want to actually use the sifter, I need to do this thingy. And I have to put some 2 filters here of the same gems here, but into black. Cannot extract or receive the gems to avoid them getting here and end up into the thermocentrifuge. And they have the same setup as before, with the pipe being fed by a conveyor, one item for the robbing, and everything that you saw before. And then everything is going to be outputted and arrive here. Where we have one conveyor here with the tag filter to refined ores, because the refined ore can be processed by the advanced macerator to give us additional items, like I'm going to show you here with the chromite. We're first going to process it and have a chance of gain some iron from it. Then I'm going to water wash it, have a chance to gain more iron. Then I'm going to thermocentrifuge it with a chance to get the magnesium, and the refined chromite can be macerated again with a chance to get me chromium. And into the other side we have a blank conveyor, because from the sifter here sometimes we're going to gain purified dusts, that are dusts from the gems that still need to be further processed here. So into one side here we're going to get the pure dusts to be included here into this advanced centrifuge, and this here we're going to receive all that stone dust from the water washing and stock here. So in the future we can process it, because it actually has some very good materials here. Quartzite, that is basically glass when extracted. Potassium, don't care for now. Marble, don't care as well. We can get magnesium from it. Have this biotite, that is very important here. Get potassium, magnesium, aluminum, silicon, fluorine, that is required to make titanium, and oxygen. We get this metal mixture that can give me a good amount of good materials. Oh yes. However, it is extreme voltage, so it is not tier. And finally the sodalite, that can be just electrolyzed into chlorine, aluminum, silicon, and sodium. And I believe that is all. So they do have some value later on. And then everything ends up here. And as you can see, it's already full to the brim of items. I still have to place another thing to extract items from there. I was going to actually move this cable and the battery box to the side and put the smart shuttles into place here, because they have access to more advanced filters. They have access to the attribute filters. In this way here, I can actually select a lot of different tags because many OS has many tags. Like I can get the flawless gen and the normal version and the tiny version and the bigger version. As far as I know, if I try to do that with the tag cover here, it'll be very complicated. But here I can just go here and select here the tag that is flawed gens and add it. Then I pick the other one, look here for flawless gen and add it. And everything is going to be filtered below it, making things a lot more easier than before. But as I said before, even though the setup actually works, let me show you by processing some galena to have some more lead because I need it. Start processing. It has started being water washed and started being stored here to be for the process, and very soon it's going to start to arrive in there. There we go. Now they're going to be refined here, and later on they're going to return to be processed there. The refining galena is here, but when there is space here, it's going to go back in there. So this setup here actually works. However, I'm not going to keep it because I realized that trying to make stuff compact is actually a pain in the butt. So what I'm going to do is to remove my process line from the main floor here and actually going to do it down there, so I can use more space and not care about the limitations of space here. Because one thing to admit or not, the processing line is not very interesting to have at your view no stop, because you just need to have one input so your OS can be processed, and then the output come into a place where it has a lot of crates to get everything here, and it'll be more easier to also separate the mini process, because into a line I normally want to do the gens before the thermal, and later on I need to make a setup here to actually combine the gens using the laser. But as you can see, they are all high voltage, and I can combine until I have a gen that I can actually macerate or do something with it, not have them clog a chest like this. And who knows, maybe in the future I'll be so well done that I could have an electrolyzer for every recipe. Now here we have a new machine here that is the Pyroluse oven. It's not that complicated to build, it just requires some medium voltage circuits, but it requires some construction here. It's not expensive, only the coils, but since we already traded my normal coils for counter coils, I have some to spare. And what is normally going to use the Pyroluse oven for? most people are probably going to use it for one single recipe and never more. It's a recipe that requires nitrogen gas and some carbon dust. But for me, because I go for the alcohol process, I can do biomass here. Normally biomass in the brewery, you convert one bioshaft, 3/4 of a liter into 3/4 of a biomass. But in the pyrolysis oven, you can combine 4 buckets of water with 4 bioshaft into 5 biomass. So we have a 25% increase in biomass. Very, very good. And of course it has a lot of ways to process wood into charcoal with very specific outputs like this wood tar here that you can distill it into benzene. And benzene is used to make some chemical reactions and also to turn into power. But I'll never understand because you can actually also using ethanol to make power. Oh, but it do less. Did you see the conversion? It's not 1 to 1. It is 100 to 35. So you have to get a lot more of this to make the same thing. But the thing is that you can actually use the charcoal here and extract it. Into more wood tar. So you actually get 3 buckets of wood tar per process. And with that you can make about 1 bucket of benzene. Okay, now we got our activated carbon. And what do you use activated carbon for? We go into a canner and combine it with some polyethylene plates. And you get this. A gas mask filter. Interesting. Can I keep it? Of course not. This is not an equipment. It's a component. And speaking of it, it's time to actually do it. Let's go here into the assembler. Put the lead here, the polyvinyl, the chlorine ring, the steel ring, the iron rod, the gas planes, and we are just missing some rubber. We're going to finally make the hazmat suit. There goes the body. There goes the helmet. However, that's not the end. We need 10 polyethylene plates to make the shoes, the iron ring and steel rings to make the pants. Ah. I'm missing some steel rings. And the pants. There we go. Helmet, body, feet, and then we are now fully protected. You look like you have enemy eyes. Now I can finally come here and pick this thing here. And not die. Yay! Of course, it only works when you have everything together. If you remove one party, you're going to actually start dying. But we now finally have it. Now let's go for the complaints, shall we? First things first, I really hate this thing of the quests here that has requirements. Because sometimes you don't want to make the requirement or don't make it before making the main thingy and you lose. Like he required the brewery and make lubricant. Why? And he required the biomass and distillery. The only reason I am behind here is because they have some very bizarre requirements that I did not complete. Like that's one here that require polyethylene. I already have it. Don't make more than one requirement for the quests, or you're never going to actually complete it. And I was very scared of trying to. You don't allow me to put there. Okay. So that was the first complaint. The quests should not have that huge requirements. Second complaint. Thus, fluid filters and pipes, they don't work. I already tried to actually do some stuff into the pipes to make it not connect. It don't work. It don't even work with the hatches. I tried to set a filter to avoid set the hatches to receive the incorrect items and they don't work. The only way I actually find to make the fluid filters to work is on machines and on drums. So as you can see here, I cannot simply go here and pick a fluid filter, attach to this open side here, and then set it to only output, let's say, oxygen here. I want oxygen to come out here. If I try to pick up a pipe here, and run on it, hydrogen. That's not what I wanted you to take out. If I go again, now it's chlorine. Every time I try to connect it, simply don't work. Pipe to pipe, it don't work. You don't prevent it, don't block it, don't do anything. It only works if you place here direct into the drones or machines. Machines, not hatches. As I explained before, even if I put it into a hatch, it's not going to work as it should. That's my complaint. A big one here. Pay very close attention. We have here super tanks that can store a lot of fluids. 8 million. Like you can see, there's water here that is half full and it's 3 million buckets. It has an option here to fluid locking. However, this don't work as you might expect it, because even though this here is empty, I can actually insert this oxygen inside it. Crap. It's fine because this one here has a filter. Let's go here into the oxygen here. Even though here... Okay, I'm going to explain with an example here. I was having here my setup to making ethylene from ethanol here. But for some reason, it doesn't matter how much time passed, those pipes here would never get full of the material or this super tank here. What I found out is that if you don't place a filter into the input of your super tank, even though you have the fluid locking enabled, if you have the fluid voiding enabled as well, it's going to take any liquid that enter here and voids it. So it was constantly voiding everything here. Just to show you, I know it's going to be a loss here, but let's block this from outputting, and gonna activate the fluid voiding, and pay attention that as soon as I remove this filter here, this is going to get empty. This tank here voided everything because you don't have a filter. So be careful, the fluid filters don't work on pipes, only works in machines, drones and super tanks, and you have to put a filter into everything that has the power of voiding, or you're going to lose a lot of material for free. Now it's full again, as it should be. Well, in this, I believe it was everything that I had to talk here into this long episode here. I made a setup here that I'm going to break down and make it down there where I have more spacing. Oh, and another stuff that I was going to talk about. As you can see here, I removed my previous rigs to make nitrogen, oxygen, chlorine, and infinite aluminum and everything else, because as you might notice, it's not strong enough. I need to make it more robust one. So I have to actually make them more than one. So to expand them, I'm going to actually remove them from here, and I'm going to make one setup of line for every material instead of having 4 into close by. So I'm going to have a row here of machines only to make nitrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. Other to make chlorine. Not one to make the other material, and the other one to make the other material, so I can expand later on. Now that I have the pyrrhus here, what I am missing to have infinity ethanol would be a way to harvest plants to make plant bomb. So this is also something that I need to work on it. I have to dig all this earth here and move my process line from top to low, so you can have a proper place for it. And then start to slowly upgrade my factory here from the low voltage to medium voltage. And despite what you might think, it's not because I want to work then working faster and use less power, because I can just give it the overclock of the minimum voltage here, and it's going to work as if it was into the low voltage like here. Ultra low voltage, now low voltage, now high. I still need to test if putting into the lowest voltage continues giving me the maximum amount of items or not. Yeah, it gives me 3. It only gives me more into the high voltage here. So it does work even to the ultra low. The reason to upgrade the machines is because they being into a higher voltage, I have to do less stuff with the transformers. Like here I have one from high to medium, medium to low, and then battery buffer. If everything is at least in medium voltage, I only need one transformer to turn the high voltage that I am now into the correct voltage. And the other reason is since because they are of a higher tier, even if I unplug this machine here, like this macerator, it has an internal buffer of 32,000 EU, while the low voltage version only had 2. So even if it goes unpower ready, it's going to last a lot more than before. In this case here, 16 times. In this would be 4 times as long as the low voltage. So this is very, very useful. And I believe this is all that I had to actually talk to you into this episode here. So this is it. This was On God. Thank you so much for watching.